Hello, everybody. Today we start the day with some coffee, and we're gonna talk about the digital transformations. And something that is interesting about digital transformations is that no matter what tool you're using, if the operators are not going to adopt it, everything is gonna fail. So that's what we are gonna see today. We're gonna see 5 ways how to help the operators adopt your digital transformation. So if you agree, let's go to my screen and see better my presentation. So, as always, this is Andreas Letros, and welcome to my live digital transformation will fail until you do this. And all around LinkedIn and the web and Google and YouTube, I always see the same promise from different vendors. Substitute paper, reduce scrap by 80%, boost efficiency with just one click. And just buy this tool, this software, this quality management system, and you are done. It's everything is fixed for you. And of course, I am aware that they also make the same promises, and I am a little bit skeptical when I see those things. Not because the tools aren't good. I think most of the tools out there are good, but the real challenge is integrate them into your production process. And 95% of the integration depends on what your operators and technicians and inspectors think about it. Because if they get confused, frustrated, and question the usefulness of the new process and the new investment and the new software, your investment will never pay off because they are never going to use it. On the other side, if they see value, if they feel supported, if they will embrace it and they will even love it. The point is, if this is going to make their life easier or harder. This is the biggest question you have to ask. If it's going to make their life easier, they are going to adopt it. If it's going to make their life harder, they are going to resist it. And this is going to happen. So here are my 5 ways to smooth the adoption, and there are 5 ways that I actually use when I create digital tools. And since I'm going to go forward, I would like to know for everybody that is watching, if you can tell me where you are from, where you're coming from, and what challenges you are using while I'm going to present. So the first thing is make them useful for the person registering the data. So the digital tools have unlimited potential to simplify communication and keep order on the shop floor. However, if your tool is just a digital version of the paper form, a glorified checklist, it's useless. A great system should actually make the life of the people that are using it easier. It's not going to be just something that you use to register data. That it has to be something that facilitates your life because it gives you access probably to information or helps you organize a little bit more your process or is an automatic calculator. So I'll give you some examples here. This is an example of how they organize the system that helps the inventory worker automatically divide the orders by pallet. If you have 100 pallets and you also want to divide your orders on pallets and inform the system and register the data, you may have a system that tells you green when the pallet is empty and red when the pallet is occupied. So you can organize a little bit better which pallets you are using if have 100, 200, or 300 pallets. The other thing is a very important one. Find information easily. For example, you're a quality inspector who put up the correct drawing with just one click. So imagine you have 300 models and you want to register the data. You have your model and you don't really have, because you have the digital tool that is designed correctly, you don't really have to search everywhere to find information. You have the correct drawing with just one click. And that's what a quality digital system can do for you. Another information is that you're a production manager that collects information about the scraps, about the kilos you're producing for every single phase of the production. And you have your system automatically calculates, converts the kilos to pieces and calculates the percentage of scrap. This helps you avoid doing the calculations with a calculator, with your phone. It helps you do it automatically. So this is something that is helpful and help you save time. These are three examples, but a good digital quality system should not be just a checklist, a glorified checklist. Should not be just data acquisition. Should help the person do the job easier, find information quicker, and facilitate the production order. Second thing, that's one of my favorites. Make video instructions. So most of the time I used to, when I was using inequality, like that was that was something I'd never understood why it was happening. So most suppliers were organized some training and then they were disappearing. And what was happening that a year later, some people forget, some people get replaced, some people change the job, some people just never use the program, and after a year someone asked them to do it. And there's confusion because people don't know, I don't remember what they taught in the training. And you have to call the technician again. Every time you have to call the technician again until you get bored of it. And probably if there's confusion, you may just abandon the system because you don't even know how to use it. So when I was using inequality, actually what was happening was that since we had the software that was a quality management system software, and we had to use it. And the owner of the company came to the factory. He explained to me, he explained to my coworkers, and then he disappeared. And then all the new people didn't know how to use it. And I made my own video instructions to help them. So if you have a video instruction, this is going to help you avoid this issue because every person is going to see the tutorial and they will never have doubts and confusion anymore. And when I create a new system, for example, for my clients, for everybody, I always add a small button where they can click on it and they can see instructions and a small tutorial about how to use it. And this is about the data registration, but also the dashboards I create, because many times you add things in the dashboard and new people don't know what to do. So I add a small button both to the data registration system and to the dashboards I use. Third thing, continuous communication between the user and the tool provider. Okay. So for many years, I was always the middle person between the software provider and the users, reporting bugs, collecting requests, and passing them along. And it was very slow and inefficient because I had to collect the requests from the software, from the users, the operators, and I had to report them to the software provider. And now, as a software provider, I don't want people to deal with it anymore. I have a direct communication. I offer a direct line of communication between the users and me, the provider. And that actually is very have to is very um re- release the pressure from me because I want to know if people have a problem. I don't want to guess, and I know that if I don't hear from them, it means that everything is working. So I like to have this direct communication, and I think that if you directly communicate with the users, you're gonna improve it so much faster than just having an intermediate person that has to lose time to deal with you. So yes, if you have a software provider, you should you should get a direct line of communication between the operators and this person, the software person. The other thing is multilingual. Okay, now I think it's more evident than ever. So, do you know the Babel Tower? 72 languages were used in its construction. I'm not really sure if it's 72 languages. That's what I saw on the Google. But That is not very efficient. And factors with production across multiple countries and language barriers can confuse the technicians. And nowadays, for example, there can be the company that is Italian and send the production to China, to Poland, to Romania, to Tunisia, to Africa, to Greece, to Bulgaria, to many different countries. And if you want to create one system that it works for all, you need to be able to give the possibility to the users to translate to their own language, except if they all speak Italian. But this is not going to happen. And so, as you can see here, this is an example of what I do. Is that you have this tool here, and the user can choose to translate in English or in Bulgarian, and automatically changes translation in Bulgarian. And this can save a lot of confusion, because imagine that the operators that's going to use it is probably going to be a person from 40 to 60 years old, and they may not know English. And the first time they see English, they're going to freak out. So we want to have it in their own language, and they want to have the best translation as possible. And this is for me the best way to be able, first, for me to understand what I'm writing, what is in the system, and also for the person to not have confusion with the English and with different languages. So you just add a button, and you have the translation automatically. And the fifth thing, this is the biggest one, I think: prevent registration errors. So what do I mean by that? It's like, you know what they say: garbage in gives garbage out, and the same works with data. So what happens is that I just want to make it sure. The operators can easily enter wrong data. For example, they write 1000 when they mean 100. They write 153 instead of 15.3. And your graphs will look a little bit like this. I don't know if it's shown very visibly, but you have all basically like all your instances together, and there's just one spike out of nowhere. And this is when data are wrong. And we want to avoid that at all costs. In order to do that, when you have a new quality system, you want to always not allow the operator to write wrong data, and to prevent him from doing that. If he writes wrong data, you want to appear some warnings. You want to have red and green. You want to tell them, are you sure that what you're writing is correct? To compare with different data. For example, if someone is registering, if you want to calculate the percentage of scrap and you have the beginning of production, 50 kilos, you can't allow the person in the next phase of the production to write 60 kilos. You can't gain 60 kilos. So these are some tricks that you use so that you don't collect the wrong data. And of course, you never allow the person to register to close one order, for example, without registering. And basically that's it. These are the five things that for me are important to make sure that the operators are going to adopt it, and they are going to find it useful, and they're going to write the correct data. So first and foremost, make sure that it's useful for the person registering the data. They get some value out of it. It makes their life easier, it makes their work easier, or they find information quicker. Make video instructions. We don't want to have confusion. We don't want to depend on a specific person to show us how to use the tool. We want every person that opens the tool, click a button, see the video instruction, and then be able to understand what's happening right away. Let me go back so they can also see my face. And continuous communication, the third, communication between the user and the tool provider. This is crucial when we want to to make the tool as user friendly as possible, because directly the user is going to send the request to the provider, and he's going to adapt it as easier as possible. And we are going to save a lot of time from the middle person, and of course, we're going to resolve the bugs as quickly as possible. And we want to make it multilingual, especially right now that production can be in different countries, so that there's no confusion. Make everything Italian, make everything English, and then the person that sees it, they don't understand, uh, and or they make wrong registrations. And sometimes I have seen that people actually that are foreigners but live in Italy, they have a hard time reading Italian. So also in these cases, maybe we want to adopt this issue, but by having their native language in this case. And fifth one, prevent registration errors, which means that we don't allow the person to write 1000 instead of 100 and 153 instead of 15.3. We want to allow the person to register. We want to create a container, and the person has to register the correct data without miscalculations. And this is it for now. This is it for today. And I'm going to close with a quote from Edward Deming, which is a bad system will beat a good person every time. So if their system is good, if the system doesn't help the people, your operators and your technicians to register your data, even the people had the most motivation will slowly stop abandoning. If there is only one person that has the motivation to register, but all the others do not because they get confused, because they get frustrated, because they feel it's useless, eventually everybody's going to abandon it. The tool, no matter how much it costs, is gonna left on the shelf, and you're never gonna be able to save 80% of your scraps or substitute the paper or improve your efficiency with just one click. So, saying that, thank you for watching. Let me make myself bigger. Thank you for watching. This was Andreas Letros showing you how to avoid basically to buy a software and a new system for your data digitalization that will not work, how to make the operators embrace your new digital system. And I hope you enjoyed it, and see you in the next live. That's going to be